Hello, and welcome to Consulting Essentials for Early Childhood Professionals, a video walkthrough of the self-paced training provided by ECCLA. We are the Early Childhood Council Leadership Alliance, and we are the membership hub for all 35 of Colorado's early childhood councils. So, a disclaimer, the information provided in this training is for educational purposes and should not be considered legal advice. Each consultant's situation is unique, and participants are encouraged to seek legal counsel to understand the specific laws and requirements that apply to them. This training does not substitute for professional legal consultation. So, welcome to Consulting Essentials for Early Childhood Professionals. So, this training is designed to equip you with the foundational skills to establish and grow a consulting business in early childhood education. We'll cover topics including legal distinctions, contracts, business setup, and defining your services. By the end, you'll be ready to confidently navigate consulting opportunities that contribute meaningfully to the early childhood programs in your community. So let's get started. So our agenda. So first we're going to talk about consultant versus employee classifications. Then we'll talk about contracts and agreements. And then business setup basics, defining your services and business planning, and finally resources. So section 1, consultant versus employee classification. So participants will understand the key legal distinctions between being classified as an independent contractor or consultant versus an employee, as well as the potential risks and responsibilities of misclassification. So 1A, overview of legal distinctions. So this section is going to outline the important differences between being classified as an independent contractor and an employee based on the United States Department of Labor's economic reality test. So, control over their work. So, consultants typically control their own schedules and methods of completing tasks. Employees, on the other hand, follow schedules and tasks set by their employer. Independent contractors often invest in their own tools, materials, and equipment, and they assume the risk of profits and losses. Employees, however, do not bear these expenses and receive consistent pay regardless of the company's financial situation. And then employees tend to have ongoing, indefinite relationships with their employer, whereas consultants are typically hired for specific time-bound projects. So let's talk about misclassification. So it's essential to understand the risk of misclassifying workers, whether as independent contractors or as employees. So misclassifying a worker as an independent contractor. This can result in penalties, back wages, and tax liabilities for businesses. And consultants may also lose access to employee benefits and legal protections like overtime pay. And misclassifying a worker as an employee. So while this is less common, this can also pose risks. Businesses may incur higher costs, including payroll taxes and employee benefits, and reduce flexibility for short-term or project-based work. Workers classified as employees may lose out on the independence and tax deductions that are available to contractors. So communicating this with your clients. So it's vital for consultants to be proactive in discussing their classification with the businesses and the programs that they're working with. This can help ensure that both parties understand the expectations and avoid misunderstandings that can lead to a misclassification. So you need clear contracts. Ensure that contracts clearly outline the consultant's role, including payment terms, and the scope of work, which we'll cover more in section 2. This helps protect both of the parties legally. And then also legal liability awareness. So misclassification can have significant consequences for both the consultant and the business. So addressing it early in the relationship is essential. Some key takeaways from this section. So understand the economic reality test and the key factors used to determine classification. Misclassification poses legal risks for both consultants and businesses, and proactive communication is essential. And always consult a legal professional to ensure compliance with labor laws. Okay, section 2, contracts and agreements. So the objective is that participants will understand the essential elements of a well-drafted consulting contract, the importance of setting clear client expectations, and when to seek legal advice. So, section 2A, essential elements of a contract. So contracts are essential for defining the scope of work, protecting both parties, and ensuring clarity around roles and responsibilities. And here are some key elements that every consultant should include in a contract. And the photo here is an example only. It is not exhaustive. So the first part is scope of work. So you're going to want to clearly outline the deliverables and services that you will provide. This is critical to avoid misunderstandings and scope creep, where clients expect additional work not originally agreed upon. And then timelines and deadlines. So include project start dates, milestones, and final deadlines to keep the project on track and ensure expectations are met on both sides. Payment terms. So specify how and when you will get paid. Include details like your rate, whether it's hourly or project-based, the payment schedule, whether it's upfront, upon completion, installments, and then method of payment. So check, direct deposits, etc. And then another is dispute resolution. So specify how conflicts will be handled, whether through mediation, arbitration, or legal action. Including this clause can prevent costly legal disputes. And then confidentiality and non-disclosure agreements. If you're handling sensitive information, outline confidentiality expectations or include a separate NDA, non-disclosure agreement. And then termination clause. Define how either party can terminate the contract and under what circumstances. Include notice periods and any potential penalties for early termination. So, section 2B, establishing client expectations. So setting clear expectations from the start helps to avoid confusion and potential conflicts later on. And here's how you can ensure transparency with your clients. So defining your roles. So be explicit about your role and what tasks are and are not included in the contract. Clarifying this upfront helps prevent misunderstandings and limits requests outside of the agreed upon scope. Communication plan. Agree on how and when you'll communicate with clients, whether it's weekly status updates, progress meetings, and this will keep the project on track and ensures parties are aligned. So clearly state who is responsible for covering additional costs, such as travel expenses, software, or third-party service. Include this in the contract to avoid confusion or disputes. When to seek legal advice. So it's important to recognize when to bring a lawyer in to review contracts, especially in complex or high-value engagements. Here are some situations where legal advice may be necessary. So for high-value projects or long-term engagements, it's wise to have a lawyer review the contract to ensure it's comprehensive and legally sound. And if the contract involves handling sensitive or proprietary information, consider having a lawyer review confidentiality clauses to ensure that they are enforceable. And then if you're developing a unique or customized agreement, such as a non-compete clause or intellectual property rights, getting legal counsel can help you avoid potential pitfalls. And there are resources on slide 61, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So some key takeaways from section 2. So every contract should clearly outline payment terms, scope of work, timelines, and termination conditions. That list is not exhaustive. Setting client expectations early on is going to prevent misunderstandings and protects against scope creep. It's worth investing in legal advice to safeguard your business. So, section 3, business setup basics. So, the objective is that participants are going to understand essential legal, administrative, and financial steps to establish a sustainable consulting business, including selecting a business structure, managing taxes, selecting insurance, cultivating resilience, budgeting skills, and a strong professional network. So, choosing a legal structure. So the legal structure you choose for your business affects how you pay taxes. The personal liability you face as well, and as well as the administrative work that's required. So here are the common business structures for consultants. So there's a sole proprietorship. This is the simplest and most common structure for independent consultants. You and the business are legally the same, meaning that you are personally liable for any business debts. And then there's a limited liability company or an LLC. So an LLC provides more liability protection, separating your personal assets from the business. It's relatively easy to set up and it offers flexibility in how you're taxed. You can either be taxed as a sole proprietor or a corporation. And then we have an S corporation. So this is a structure that provides liability protection, but it also allows you to pay yourself a salary while avoiding some self-employment taxes. It's more complex to manage than an LLC, but it can offer some tax advantages. And then another is a partnership. So if you're going into business with another person, a partnership might be a great option. There are different forms of partnerships, like general or limited, depending on how much liability you want to take on. And then finally, there's a nonprofit organization. So if your consulting focus aligns with charitable, educational, or social purposes, you may consider forming a nonprofit. Nonprofits can achieve 501c3 status, which provides tax exempt benefits and it enables tax deductible donations to your organization. However, you must comply with specific regulations and governance structures, including filing articles of incorporation and establishing a governing board. So let's talk about licensing and taxes for for-profit companies. So if you've selected a for-profit business structure, not a nonprofit, you'll need to handle licensing and taxes. So you'll want to apply for an EIN or an employer identification number. Even if you don't plan to hire employees right away or at all, an EIN is necessary for filing for tax filing and then opening a business bank account. You can apply for this through the IRS website for free. You must register with the Secretary of State. So if you're forming an LLC, corporation, or partnership, you're going to need to register your business with the Secretary of State's office. And this step ensures your business name is protected and officially recognized. And then you're going to need to obtain business licenses. Depending on your state and local requirements, you may also need specific business licenses to operate legally in your industry. And this varies by jurisdiction and what services you offer. So some tax considerations. So independent contractors are required to pay self-employment taxes, which includes Social Security and Medicare. And depending on your business structure, you might opt for different tax treatments. For example, LLC as a pass-through entity, S Corp for salary and dividends, As a self-employed professional, you'll also need to make quarterly estimated tax payments to the IRS to avoid penalties. And some states require consultants to charge sales tax for their services. So it's crucial to verify whether your services are subject to charging your clients sales tax. So now let's talk about licensing and taxes for nonprofit organizations. So if you've selected a nonprofit business structure, you'll need to handle licensing and taxes. So same thing, you'll need to apply for an EIN, an employer identification number. A nonprofit needs an EIN for tax identification, similar to a for-profit entity. And this number is essential for opening a bank account and applying for that tax exempt status. You also have to register with the Secretary of State. You have to file your articles of incorporation with the Secretary of State to legally establish your business. And this document includes the nonprofit's name, the purpose, the registered agent, and initial board members. Check for any other state-specific requirements, like obtaining a certificate of good standing or registering for state taxes. Visit your state Secretary of State website for detailed guidance. And then obtain business licenses. So nonprofits must verify local business license requirements to ensure compliance with municipal regulations. And this may vary by location and types of services offered again, so it's important to check with local authorities. And some tax considerations. So applying for 501c3 status is essential for obtaining federal tax exempt benefits. This designation allows nonprofits to receive tax deductible donations, which can enhance fundraising efforts. Nonprofits must be aware of ongoing compliance obligations, including annual filings with the IRS, like the Form 990. Maintaining compliance ensures that your nonprofit retains its tax exempt status and operates within legal parameters. So let's talk about insurance for a for-profit business. So having the right insurance can protect you from legal and financial risks. Here are some types of insurances that consultants should consider. So general liability insurance. This protects your business from lawsuits or claims of bodily injury, property damage, or negligence. And then there's professional liability insurance, also known as errors and omissions or E&O insurance. And this covers claims arising from your professional services, such as negligence or mistakes in the advice that you provide. And then cyber liability insurance. This is important if you're storing client data electronically, and it covers losses from data breaches or cyber attacks. And then there's also something called a business owner's policy, a BOP, and that's a bundled package that combines general liability with property insurance for physical assets like equipment or office space. So connect with your local broker to ensure that you get coverage that's tailored to your needs, especially given the risks in early childhood consulting, like working with children, data handling, etc. And just a disclaimer on insurance quotes. So when seeking insurance quotes, it's crucial to clearly communicate your role as a consultant rather than a child care provider. Insurance companies may have difficulty quoting policies if they do not understand your specific services and your risks. Ensure that you provide detailed information about your consulting activities and discuss the necessity of tailored insurance policies designed for consultants. It's advisable to work with insurance agents experienced in consulting services to ensure the appropriate coverage. Now let's talk about insurance for your nonprofit business. So same thing, general liability insurance, it protects the nonprofit from claims of bodily injury, property damage, personal injury. This is crucial against safeguarding from lawsuits and claims arising from accidents or incidents. And then professional liability insurance, again, E&O. This type of insurance covers claims from professional services by the nonprofit, and it's essential for your organization if your organization provides consulting, counseling, or any other professional services. And same thing again, cyber liability insurance. It protects against data breaches and cyber attacks. And then also there's directors and officers or D&O insurance. So this coverage protects your board members and officers from personal liability for decisions made on behalf of the nonprofit. And it's critical for attracting and retaining qualified board members who may otherwise hesitate due to the legal risks associated. There's also workers' compensation insurance, and it's required in most states if your nonprofit has any employees. This insurance covers medical expenses and lost wages for employees who have been injured on the job. And even if you have volunteers, consider whether you want to offer coverage for them as well. And then there's property insurance. So it covers damage to your nonprofit's physical assets like buildings, equipment, and inventory. And this insurance is vital for protecting your organization's tangible resources. And then there's event insurance. So if your nonprofit is hosting events, consider purchasing event insurance to cover potential liabilities associated with those gatherings, such as injuries or any property damage. And then also, again, business owner's policy, and it combines several things into one. You can connect with your local broker to ensure that you're getting coverage that's tailored to you and your needs. And same thing again, just a little disclaimer on insurance quotes. So making sure that you're very specific about your services and that you are not a child care provider, you are a consultant. So some key takeaways. So choosing the right structure for your business affects your taxes, your liability, and your operational complexity. Obtain the necessary registrations, business licenses, and understand your tax obligations, including self-employment taxes and sales taxes. Protect your business with appropriate insurance coverage for liability, property, and data security risks. Section 4. So let's talk about defining your services and business planning. So the objective for this is that participants will have the tools to define their consulting services, create a business plan, and establish rates that accurately reflect the value of their expertise. So defining your service offering. So one of the first steps in building a consulting business is deciding what services you're going to offer. In early childhood consulting, it's important to focus on your specific expertise and the needs of your target clients. So identifying areas of expertise. So consider your professional background, your education, and your experience. Some examples of services could include coaching and mentorship, offering individualized coaching to professionals, program evaluation, providing assessments of early childhood programs for quality improvement or accreditation. And then professional development, so designing and delivering training for early childhood professionals. And then curriculum development, helping those programs implement or adapt developmentally appropriate curricula. And you're also going to want to think about how you're packaging your services. So determine how you're packaging to meet the needs of your clients. So you could offer hourly consulting, which is ideal for short-term projects, or on-call consulting. There's project-based consulting, providing services for a specific project within clear deliverables and timelines. And then there's retainer agreements, so offering ongoing support to clients in exchange for a monthly or quarterly fee. So special considerations for early childhood. So if you're working with early childhood centers, remember to consider services like parent engagement strategies, program administration consulting, or help with universal preschool integration. Now, business planning. So creating a business plan. So a business plan is essential to structure your consulting business and ensure long-term sustainability. Your plan should focus on key elements, including a market analysis, which is researching your local regional market to identify the demand. Is there a need for consultants specializing in early childhood in your area? And then competition. Who else is offering similar services, and how can you differentiate your offerings? And then a competitive analysis. Consider what makes your services unique. Are you offering specialized expertise in a specific curriculum or an assessment tool? And you want to highlight what sets you apart, like experience with rural programs or underserved communities, or in depth knowledge of universal preschool or special education services. So, a business plan structure. So, this image provides a very general outline for a consulting business plan, and it's not exhaustive. For personalized guidance, consult legal or business professional. But the outline for this business plan is you want to include an executive summary, so a brief overview of your business and your goals. You're going to want to define your services, so detailed descriptions of the consulting services you're going to be providing. You're going to want to talk about your target market, so who your clients are, if they're centers, family childcare homes, school districts. And then you want to think about a marketing plan. So, how will you reach your target clients, whether that's networking, councils, small business development centers, chamber of commerce, etc. And then a financial plan. Include financial projections like startup costs and estimated revenue. And then financial management and budgeting. So, establishing a solid financial foundation is crucial for the sustainability and growth of your consulting practice. Effective budgeting not only helps you manage your current resources, but also aligns with your long term goals. So begin by defining your organization's objectives. What size do you envision for your consulting practice? Set clear, measurable goals. Setting clear, measurable goals will guide your budgeting process and help you allocate resources effectively. And then budgeting for sustainability. So determine how much you will pay versus how much you plan to reinvest in your program, how much you will pay yourself, actually. A balanced approach is essential for sustainability. So while it's really important to compensate yourself fairly, reinvesting in your business can also drive growth and improve service offerings. And then expense tracking and forecasting. So you want to make sure that you're regularly tracking your expenses and you're forecasting future costs to ensure that your budget remains aligned with your goals. You can utilize budgeting tools or software to help maintain clarity and accountability in financial management. And then adjust as needed. As your consulting practice evolves, be prepared to adjust how your budget based on new opportunities or even new challenges. And flexibility in budgeting allows you to respond effectively to changing circumstances. So, cultivating resilience in business. So, starting a consulting business can be a challenging journey filled with ups and downs, and it's essential to cultivate resilience to navigate the inevitable obstacles you'll face. Remember, 1,000 rejections can lead to one yes that you need. This phrase emphasizes that persistence is crucial. Every rejection or setback can bring you closer to your next opportunity. So embrace rejection. Understand that rejection is a natural part of the entrepreneurial process. Each no provides valuable feedback that can help you refine your approach, enhance your services, and better understand your market. And stay focused on your goals. Keep your long term vision in mind and don't let those temporary setbacks deter you. Building a successful consulting practice requires time, effort, and a strong belief in your mission. Seek support and community. So surround yourself with supportive peers and mentors, and networks that can offer guidance, encouragement, and invaluable insights and camaraderie. And then reflect and adapt. Use those challenges as opportunities for growth. Regularly reflect on your experiences, adapt your strategies, and remain flexible in your approach to meet the evolving needs of your clients. And building your network. So, establishing a robust network is crucial for your success as a consultant. Connections can lead to new clients, collaborations, and valuable resources. Networking provides opportunities to share knowledge and best practices within the early childhood community. So identify your key contacts. Start by identifying individuals and organizations that align with your consulting focus. This could be early childhood councils, fellow consultants, educators, and community organizations. And then engage in professional organizations. So you can join local and national organizations related to early childhood, like NACCE or Colorado's Early Childhood Councils. And participation in these groups can provide networking opportunities, resources, and support. And then attend workshops and conferences. Participate in these community events. These gatherings provide opportunities to meet like-minded professionals and potential clients while learning about the latest trends in the industry. And then follow up and maintain relationships. So after making connections, follow up with personalized messages or invitations to coffee or lunch. Regularly check in with your contacts to maintain relationships and stay on top of mind for future opportunities. So setting your rates and managing costs. So setting appropriate rates is crucial for maintaining profitability while ensuring your services are competitive. So consider the following. So the cost of your services. Make sure that your rates account for all of your costs, including your time and labor. How much time will each project take, and what's your hourly rate? Your travel include mileage, travel time, and lodging if you provide in-person consulting. These should be clearly defined in your contracts. And then professional development. Factor in the costs of maintaining certifications, continuing education, and attending conferences. And then there's different rate models. So an hourly rate, consider industry standards and your expertise. Early childhood consulting rates can vary, but typical ranges might be $50 to $150 an hour, depending on experience and your services offered. You could do a flat fee or a project rate. So you could set a fixed price for an entire project, but you have to make sure that it covers your time, costs, and any unforeseen challenges. And then there's travel and additional costs. So include clauses in your contracts that cover travel expenses, hotel stays, and mileage reimbursement if necessary. And ensure that your rates also reflect these additional costs. So some key takeaways. So defining your service offerings around your expertise is essential for creating value in consulting. And a well thought out business plan, including market and competitive analysis, etc., will provide structure and guide your business's growth. And then setting appropriate rates requires considering not only your time and expertise, but also travel, professional development, and operational costs. So let's talk about resources. So the objective is that participants will have a list of valuable resources to support their business setup, development, and continued growth as early childhood consultants. So there are resources available for local small business development. So connecting with local resources can provide consultants with guidance, mentorship, and support as they navigate the different challenges with starting and running a business. So small business development centers, or SBDCs, So the SBDCs in Colorado offer free business consulting and low-cost training on various topics, including business planning, marketing, and financial management. These centers are an excellent resource for anyone new to consulting or business ownership. There's also local chambers of commerce. So, your local chamber of commerce is a valuable resource for networking with other business owners and getting access to local economic data, events, and training. Joining a chamber can increase your visibility within the community and help you find potential clients. And then there's SCORE, which is a nonprofit association that provides free mentoring and education to small business owners. SCORE volunteers are experienced business professionals who can offer guidance on various aspects of starting and running a business. And then there's legal and tax resources. So there's the IRS. So the IRS offers various resources to help independent contractors understand their tax obligations, including paying their self-employment taxes and filing those quarterly estimated taxes. And then the Secretary of State. So Colorado has an online portal where you can register your business and stay compliant with state filing requirements. And then there's LegalZoom or Rocket Lawyer. So online legal services can help with setting up your business entity, drafting those contracts, and more. And both platforms offer tools to create LLCs, draft legal documents, and find local attorneys. And then for insurance references. So there's local insurance brokers. So finding a local broker who understands the needs of the early childhood sector or consulting is key. Many brokers offer personalized consultations to help you determine the right types of coverage, like general liability or professional liability. And then there's Hiscox, and that specializes in small business insurance. So it offers plans tailored for consultants, including professional liability, general liability, cyber, and then errors and omissions insurance. And then there's early childhood specific resources. So there's NACCE, or the National Association for the Education of Young Children. So they provide tools, resources, and networks for early childhood professionals. And joining NACCE can help consultants stay current on best practices and connect with potential clients. And then we have our early childhood councils. So each county in Colorado is represented by an early childhood council that provides support, training, and networking opportunities. And councils are great for partnerships and learning about funding and policy initiatives and early childhood education. And then there's Nebula Early Childhood Collaborative, and Nebula offers support and collaboration groups tailored for early childhood startups. And these groups focus on providing guidance, resources, and networking opportunities for individuals looking to establish consulting practices in the early childhood sector. So, some key takeaways: leveraging local resources like SBDCs and chambers of commerce provide valuable support for business development. And staying compliant with taxes and legal requirements is essential. And there are many tools and resources available to help. And insurance coverage is vital for protecting your consulting business, and local brokers or online providers can help you find the right plan. And then use early childhood specific resources like NACCE, your local early childhood council, so that you can stay connected and grow within the profession. So, congratulations on completing Consulting Essentials for Early Childhood Professionals. You've taken an important step toward establishing yourself as a successful consultant in the early childhood education profession. You've learned essential skills to confidently navigate consulting, from legal and basic business setups to defining your services and setting your rates. Remember to leverage your local resources, your professional networks, and stay informed on best practices for your consulting business. And best of luck as you build your career in early childhood consulting and make a positive impact in the community.